Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Radha Madhav Radhe Radhe Jaya Radha Sham Sundar Radha Radhe Radhe Jaya Radha Rasa Bihari Radha Rasa Bihari Radha Rasa Bihari Shri Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Radhe Jaya Shri Radhe Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Panchatattva Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavan Dham Jaya Krishna Balaram Jaya Vrindavan Dham Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Srila Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Gaura Hari Bol Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai Srila Gurudev ki jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol Hare Krishna. So we are having the transcendental darshan of Ashish Prabhu. We are very fortunate. Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranams. I also welcome Abhinav Gauranga Prabhu, our speaker for today. So Prabhuji will be starting our next chapter for today, chapter 14. And we also welcome all the participants for today's Nectar of Devotion session. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Over to you, Prabhu.
Thank you so much, Mataji. And again, thank you so much for the blissful Kirtan first up. Yeah. So welcome everyone, yet another session, and I'm here again with all of you to get the transcendental association of such wonderful devotees over here. And today's session, like this will be, I will be starting chapter 14 today, and initial 12 paragraphs I'll be covering today. And the core discussion or the agenda of this session would be that what is important in devotional service. Whether it's knowledge, whether it's Dhyan Yoga, whether it's philosophical speculation, like are these things important at all, or is bhakti independent of all these things, right? And on top of that, we'll also try to see what Lord Sri Krishna has to say about the devotional service. What is his opinion about? Because it actually doesn't matter what I think. It doesn't matter what any one of us thinks, right? Ultimately, what matters is that what Lord Sri Krishna thinks, right? So this is what we will be seeing today. So we'll begin. I'll share my screen, and if someone can confirm when they are able to see, it would be great.
Yes, Prabhu, be able to see your screen.
Okay, nice. Thank you, Maharaji. So as usual, before starting, I would like to dedicate this session to our founder Acharya, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Whatever I am going to speak, I will just repeat what I have heard in the lectures of Prabhupada. I will merely repeat what I have read in the books of Srila Prabhupada, and I would repeat what I have learned from my Siksha and Diksha Guru, right? So before proceeding, let me chant some pranam mantras. Those who know it, please try to follow them while remaining on mute. Those who don't know it, just try to listen very carefully. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana-shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utapad Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagan Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenbandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामिने गौरत्विषे नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्ण पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे मूकं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरि यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानंद माधवं श्री चैतन्य ईश्वरं हरि ओम तत्सत. Okay. So first up, knowledge or renunciation. Okay, like what is important for devotional service? Basically, is it not? Do we need to be very knowledgeable, or do we need to renounce everything? So let's see. What is more important for devotional service? How can we get into bhakti? How can we get fixed up in bhakti? Right. So, what is more important, knowledge or renunciation? So the answer is neither. Why? The reason is knowledge or renunciation is just the beginning. When a person becomes very inquisitive, right? That who am I? What is my purpose? What is the purpose of my life? Who is God? And what is my relationship with the God? Those are the ideas. Like those are the questions which an elementary person starts asking. Once they start developing a little taste of bhakti or devotional service. So it's just the beginning, and these are the right questions. In the shastras it is said, it is called as athato brahma jigyasa, right? We need to inquire about the supreme. So this is the starting phase of our devotional service, which is basically asking the right questions and taking steps towards self-realization, basically, right? But ultimately, the devotion is just a sentiment where the desire is to serve Sri Krishna, right? So when we talk about sentiments, like it does not depend upon any kind of a knowledge, or you basically will see further that we don't need to renounce anything. See, what will we renounce? Nothing belongs to us, right? Everything belongs to Krishna. So what is there to renounce for us, right? So renunciation or knowledge is just the initial aspect, and we will see further that what is more important. Okay. How can we develop devotional service, and what is Lord Krishna's opinion about it? So another question is whether mental speculation or yoga practice. Right. So a lot of people, like even today, if you see that there are several yoga studios, even Srila Prabhupada has mentioned in many of his purports that yoga is not just about twisting and turning of the body, right? Just to gain some health benefits out of that. It's much more than that, basically, right? I mean, let's see. I mean, I don't want to spoil everything right now, right up. So okay. So can mental speculation help one progress in devotional service? Or can one become expert devotee by practicing Dhyan Yoga? So these are the two questions. So answer is not really. Neither of them is required. Why? Because mental speculation and artificial austerities of yoga practice may be favorable for becoming liberated from material contamination, right? But they will not. They will make one's heart harder and harder. And as we saw in the previous slide, that bhakti is more about a sentiment, about loving Krishna so much that you simply want to surrender to him and serve to him, right? Offer loving devotional service unto him. So if your heart is very hard, if your heart has turned into a stone, then the likelihood of developing that kind of a sentiment, that kind of love and affection for the Supreme Personality, it becomes a little difficult, right? Becomes a little difficult. So let's see what Lord Krishna has to say about this, right? And then, like we all know, like most of you are very nice devotees, and I'm pretty sure that all of you must have read Bhagavad Gita at least once, right? So in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Lord Krishna has actually, given us, clearly he has mentioned the superiority of the devotional service or the Bhakti Yoga compared to the other yoga systems, right? Karma Yoga or Dhyan Yoga or Gyan Yoga, like that. Okay. So in the 12th chapter, second verse, Krishna says, Shri Bhagwan Vacha Maya Veshyamano Yemam Nityayukta Upasate Shraddhaya Paryopetas Teme Yukta Tamamataha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, those who fix their minds on my personal form and are always engaged in worshipping me with great transcendental faith are considered by me the most perfect. And who can do this? Like who can focus on Krishna's personal form and who can be always engaged in the worshipping of Krishna with great transcendental faith? It's the Bhakti Yogis, right? Dhyan Yogis, generally they try to sit in a meditative posture and then they try to focus their minds on nothingness, right? I mean, so that again, like we'll see in the next verse what Krishna has to say about those Dhyan Yogis. Karma Yogis, generally they are too much kind of attached to the work that they are doing. Yes, ultimately they offer the fruits of that result to Krishna, but then the attachment to that work is there, right? So Krishna is not generally anywhere in the picture, while they are working. So let's see in the next verse, in the 12th chapter, 5th verse only, what Krishna is saying. Klesho dhikaraste shama avyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi gatir dukkham dehavadhi pravapyate. For those whose minds are attached to the unmanifested impersonal feature of the Supreme, advancement is very troublesome. To make progress in that discipline is always very difficult for those who are embodied. Yes. So Krishna himself is saying that what the procedure which is being followed by the impersonalists, although see, ultimately, like any kind of practice, yoga practice, like if it is properly directed, right, then it will ultimately lead you to the supreme destination. But there is a difference, like what Srila Prabhupada used to say, that suppose you have to go to the say 25th floor or 30th floor of a skyscraper building. There are two ways. Either you can take the stairs or you can take the elevator. An intelligent person will always go for the elevator, right? Yes, like if you take the stairs, you can just go step by step on each and every floor. You can go around peeping what's going on there, and slowly. But ultimately, with this slowly, even if you are making some progress while climbing the stairs, you will ultimately reach your destination. But there are two things: one, it's very time consuming, and second, it's very tiring as well, right? But whereas if you just get into the elevator, immediately within few minutes you are at your destination, right? So Bhakti Yoga is like that elevator, whereas other yoga systems are like the staircases. So it's up to the basically choice of the devotee that what path they are going to choose. But the most intelligent ones, the most sharp-witted people, actually, they will go for the Bhakti Yoga only. Why? We will see later that how Bhakti Yoga encompasses all the aspects of all the other like yoga systems. So And I mean, as human beings, we must have experienced that as well, right? Like if you sit in a meditative posture, trying to, try to focus on something which is just not there, an impersonal thing, or try to focus on void with the hope that you will be able to control your mind. In Kali Yuga, that's just not possible, right? Scientifically, it has been proved that our attention span is not more than that of 10 minutes, right? With little bit of practice, yes, we can increase it to 15 minutes to 20 minutes, but not more than that. Right? Without looking at our mobile phones, we can't sit quietly for 5 minutes. What to speak of, spending years together in a sanctified forest-like place, and maintaining complete celibacy for 10 and 12 years, and then starting that process of Ashtanga Yoga. That's simply not possible, right? And even in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna was talking about the Dhyan Yoga to Arjun, right? Arjun said, "Oh Krishna, this is not possible for me. This particular yoga system is very impractical for me." Right? So just imagine, the self-realized soul, such a nice devotee like Arjuna, like if he is saying that, okay, that this is impractical, what to speak of people of Kali Yuga? What to speak of people like you and me, right? It's just not possible to sit and attain, what to say, perfection using the Dhyan Yoga, right? So it's a very difficult process. Krishna also is confirming this. So as I said, that it doesn't matter what I think, doesn't matter what you think. What matters is what ultimately Krishna thinks, right? And he says that this is a very difficult process. And then finally, clearly, like in this particular verse, 6th chapter, 47th verse, Krishna has just put a kind of a rubber stamp on, that what is superior, right? Yogi nam api sarvesham madgate antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yo mam same yukta tamo mata. And of all the yogis, one with great faith, who always abides in me, thinks of me within himself, renders transcendental loving service to me, he is most intimately united with me in yoga and is the highest of all. That is my opinion. So this is the final opinion which Krishna is saying. And just look at the qualities which he is saying. Who always abides in me, right? Always thinks of me within himself, renders transcendental loving devotional service unto me. And that person is most intimately, and in which kind of people will we find these qualities? Obviously, bhakti yogi, right? A devotee, basically, devotee of Krishna. This is what devotees do. And this is the portion that you see highlighted in the red. That is the main crux, or that is the bottom line of everything that we are discussing about here, of any yoga system, right? Any yoga system which does not culminate in devotional service towards Krishna is simply a wastage of time and energy, right? Just imagine, like, see, I can be a very expert Dhyan yogi. I may have attained a lot of siddhis. Okay, there are 8 types of siddhis which one can attain. Maybe say I attain 3 or 4, or maybe even say if I'm very, very advanced, I can attain 7 or all the 8 siddhis, right? But then what is the use ultimately, right? If I'm just doing a show of those siddhis, what will happen? People will praise me, I will get some monetary benefits, I'll get some followers. But for how long? 60 years, 70 years, maybe optimistically speaking, if my lifespan is good, 80 years, right? In Kali Yuga. After that, nothing. Like again, like we will have to come back again in this material world. Fir se, like LKG, UKG, first standard, second standard, 12th, then going to college. Considering the situation of this Kali Yuga, I mean, girlfriend banao, boyfriend banao, shadi karo, and bacche paida karo, and then this is how it goes, right? And sorry, did I forget to mention? You may not be getting a human form in the next life, depending upon your karma also. Right? So why to get into all this nonsense? Yes. Like Prabhupada used to say, just finish your business in this lifetime, go back home, back to Godhead. Practice bhakti nicely, make nice prasadam, distribute the prasadam, eat the prasadam, sing and dance for Krishna, and just go back home, back to Godhead. It's as simple as that, right? So process of achieving Sri Krishna. So one can understand me only through devotional service. This is what Krishna has clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. We have seen 2 or 3 places, like some of the references, but there are other places also where Krishna is very particular, very clear about the superiority of Bhakti Yoga over other yoga systems. Then Vedic knowledge means ultimately to understand the Supreme Lord. Okay, so as I said earlier, that if any yoga system which does not culminate in the devotional service towards Krishna it is simply a wastage of time and energy. So this is what Vedic knowledge, all these scriptures, basically, it's ultimately for understanding the Supreme Personality of God. In the 15th chapter, 15th verse, Krishna says, Vedesh sarver aham eva vedyo, right? Vedant krit ved videvacha. That means of all the Vedas, I am to be known, right? From all the Vedas, I am to be known. So this is the ultimate understanding which all the Vedic scriptures give us. So that is the main, the whole crux of all the Vedic scripture. The process of entering into the kingdom of God is the devotional service that is accepted by all authentic scripture. Okay, so at nowhere, it is mentioned that simply, only on the basis of karma yoga, or only on the basis of dhyan yoga, or only on the basis of, philosophical speculation, you can enter into the kingdom of God, into any of the Vaikuntha planets. No, that's not possible. Until unless all these yoga systems culminate into bhakti, I mean, it's just not possible. So these yoga systems are properly directed only if ultimate realization is that we are eternal part and parcels of Krishna, and our eternal constitutional position is to lovingly serve Krishna, right? Until unless this realization comes, then everything else is a wastage of time. So that is the reason why devotees are placed at a very superior position, because right from the word go, they are very clear about this thing. They are very clear about this understanding. So you don't need to practice all these, difficult processes in order to come to that understanding. It's just about accepting, like what Krishna is saying in the Bhagavad Gita as it is, what Krishna is saying in Srimad Bhagavatam as it is, and just start rendering devotional service to him. I mean, I still recall that, there was a lady, actually she was very new to Krishna consciousness, but she was a very good devotee of Lord Sri Krishna. Like she had this Laddu Gopal at her home, and very nicely, like her entire day, she was a homemaker, and entire day she only used to think about Laddu Gopal only. Okay, that what I'm going to prepare for him, what kind of dress I'm going to purchase for him, and then what I'm going to do this Ekadashi for him. So continuously, just Laddu Gopal was there in her thoughts, right? And when she came to ISKCON, a lot of senior devotees, and they actually agreed in they were in full agreement with each other that this lady was placed at a much higher level than compared to any other dhyan yogi or person who is performing austerities, right? Because although apparently she was not doing any meditational practice, or she was not even chanting at that time, because she was very new to Krishna consciousness, but her consciousness was already so pure that continuously she was just thinking about Krishna, which is a great blessing to be, right? So I mean, devotional service or bhakti basically doesn't require all these processes. You don't have to do any difficult yogic practice, or you don't have to be a philosophical speculator, even if you don't read any of the scriptures. But if you just understand what is the gist of these scriptures, then just you are through, basically, right? So this is the whole understanding. So let's see what Srimad Bhagavatam has to say. Devotional service versus detachment or knowledge. Tasman madbhakti yuktasya yogino vaimadatmanaha na jnanam na cha vairagyam praya shreyo bhavedya. Therefore, a devotee engaged in my devotional service with mind fixed on me, the cultivation of knowledge and renunciation is generally not the means of achieving the highest perfection within the three worlds. So Srimad Bhagavatam is also confirming the same thing, that for a devotee like whose mind is already fixed on Sri Krishna, they don't need to practice all these things, right? Because see, this is what is, and just we'll see the next point also, devotion encompasses all the aspects of the other yogic system. How I'll just explain, this is a very interesting thing. So what do yogis do? What do Ashtanga yogis do? They sit at one place, they try to meditate on something which is formless, basically, and they basically try to control the mind. And if you see some of the examples, say for example, when Hiranyakashipu was performing this Ashtanga yoga, right? He was doing very severe austerities. He was performing very severe austerities. During the summer, he used to build a circle of fire around him, and he used to sit in between that circle of fire, and then he used to meditate. During the winters, he used to submerge himself in ice cold water, neck deep, right? And then he was performing. So all these austerities, why? Just to control the mind, right? Because we know that mind is basically very, very obstinate. It is just distracted continuously. It will take you in all possible directions, right? So, but just see how the situation of a devotee over here, like how convenient and how simple is this process of Krishna consciousness. See, we are also controlling the mind, but we are not different services. For example, there is a devotee who has an altar at home. So what will happen? In the Brahma Muhurta, he or she will wake up and then they will do the Mangal Arti, right? So mind is engaged there in performing that seva, that particular seva. After that, they will have to offer something to the Lord as a bhoga. So okay, fine. So in the morning, okay, so bhoga is also done. Then they will also do some chanting. So again, the mind is engaged. When they go to the office for doing their work, a devotee's consciousness is like, okay, whatever I'm doing, I have just like offered that the results to Krishna. Okay, so the aspect of karma yoga is also there, right? So which is already there. And then when they come back during the evening, then also you will offer some prasadam at that time. Or you will also find some time to read the scriptures, the books of Srila Prabhupada, maybe Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. There are so many of them. So you see, continuously throughout the day, in some way or the other, you are just keeping Krishna in the center and engaging in some service or the other, right? So the mind is already controlled. Like you don't have to do anything extra or anything like forcibly to control the mind, right? And in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna also says that Indriyanam Manaschasmi, that of all the senses I am the mind. So when mind is representing Krishna, and when it's like a Vishnu tattva, not exactly Vishnu tattva, but it's a representative of Krishna. Then if something is representing Krishna, then how can people like us control that thing? It's just not possible that just by putting external force or external pressure on our body by performing difficult austerities. Yes, you can do that, but then it will take years to perfect that particular process, right? And in Kali Yuga, we don't have that kind of a lifespan to do that, right? So all these things are limitations. We have to understand that which is the simplest process. We have to be smart and thinking in that way. Just adapt to that process and just go back home, back to Godhead, right? So devotion encompasses all the aspects of yogic system, and this is what actually the engagement that we have here in Krishna consciousness. This is what we are actually hankering for. If you see, like, we are only hankering for happiness, and that happiness comes from getting like the pure love, which is what we are hankering for right now, right? And until unless we get that kind of a pure love, where which is eternal and which does not exhaust with time, rather with over a period of time it just goes on increasing, right? That is the thing that we are actually hankering for. Unfortunately, since we are here in this material world, we are forced to take some kind of a material body, and because this material body also comes with something called as mind, so we attach ourselves. The mind actually plays a trick on us, and then we attach ourselves so much to this body that we try to find the same happiness in this material world, which is dukhalayam ashashvatam, right? It is full of miseries and it is non-permanent, it's non-eternal. So you just imagine that, for example, you just take an example that if I have a fish at my home in an aquarium, and for the time being, you just assume that, say, I have a very palatial house. In reality, I don't have a very, very palatial house. Okay, it's a very normal house, but just imagine that I have a fish and I have a very palatial house. I just take that fish out of the aquarium, place it, and my living room has like a what to say, very expensive furnitures, very nicely decorated, and I just put on that fish on one of those furnitures. I put a bottle of Coke beside it. I put some chips beside it, and I just tell that fish, okay dude, come on, let's watch some movie, let's chill out, right? Do you think that fish will be able to enjoy? It will not. Obviously it will not enjoy, right? It will die after some time. Why? Because it is supposed to live in the water. No matter how much comfort we give it outside water, it just won't be able to survive. The same is our case. Basically, we are actually spiritual beings. We do not belong here in this material world. Just like fish belongs in the water, we belong in the spiritual world. We do not belong in this material world, right? So ultimately, no matter how hard we strive for, achieving some happiness, or how hard we try to, achieve some kind of a satisfaction or solace just by, indulging ourselves in sense gratification, it's not going to help us in the long run, right? I mean, we will get fed up, we'll get frustrated, and then we'll try to do something else, and then, this cycle goes on and on and on and on and on, right? It's a never ending process. So we have to understand that what our scriptures are saying, just follow that, and then, we will be attaining Krishna sooner or later. So what is the beauty of bhakti? Again, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Yat karma bhiryatapasa jnana vairagya taschayat yogena dana dharmena shreyo bhiri tararapi sarva madbhakti yogena madbhakto labhatenjasa swargapavargam madhama kathanchit yadi vanchati. Everything that can be achieved by fructive activities, penance, knowledge, detachment, mystic yoga, charity, religious duties, and all other means of perfecting life is easily achieved by my devotee through loving service unto me. This is another assurance which Krishna is giving, right, in Srimad Bhagavatam. If somehow or the other my devotee desires promotion to heaven, liberation, or residence in my abode, he easily achieves such benedictions, right? Although devotees do not actually desire even liberation. That is what Lord Chaitanya said. Na dhanam na janam na sundarim kavitam va jagdish kamye mam janmani janmanishware bhavtat bhakti rahe tu kitvai. I don't want dhanam. I don't want any monetary benefits. I don't want janam. I don't want any follower. Sundarim, don't want association of beautiful women. What I want, I'm only hankering for your pure devotional service lifetime after lifetime. That means I'm not even interested in liberation. You just keep sending me here, not a problem, but just give me your causeless devotional service every time in every lifetime. Okay? This is what a true devotee actually feels like. So you see, the superiority of bhakti is basically established both in Bhagavad Gita as well as Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's see what is the position of a devotee. Following are the statements made by Sri Krishna himself in Srimad Bhagavatam. Devotees have everything at their disposal. Point number one. Okay, that means all the aspects of different yoga systems are just there with the devotee. But they desire nothing outside my devotional service. Devotees are not interested in anything. They just simply want to serve Krishna in a most loving and adorable way, right? And if ever a devotee should desire some material profit like promotion to heavenly planets or some spiritual profit to go to the Vaikunthas, by my causeless mercy, his desires are easily fulfilled, right? So these are the assurances which Krishna is giving, and this is the position of a devotee. And now just let's see what is the position of an impersonalist. The impersonalists who try to avoid everything material may undergo severe austerities, but they miss out on the opportunity of being engaged in the service of the Lord. And this is what I was saying some time back, right? That we also control our minds here in Krishna consciousness. But what is the process of doing that? We simply engage ourselves throughout the day in different form of services, different sevas that we do. Right? So much so that at times we are so overwhelmed by different services that sometimes we have to say, Prabhuji, Mataji, time nahi hai mere paas. I don't have any further time to do this. Like, I can't take anymore, right? So this is how we engage our minds. But the impersonalists who are actually, trying to meditate on some formless thing or on void, basically miss out on this opportunity, right? So it's very, very difficult for them to control the mind. Their renunciation is not sufficient for perfection, right? So as I said, like, what will we renounce? Nothing belongs to us. Everything belongs to Krishna, right? So the Ishavasya principle in the second verse or first verse of Ishopanishad, right? Ishavasyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat tena taktena bhunjita ma gridda tasya siddhanam. That means everything, animate or inanimate, it belongs to Krishna. And one should be taking only as much as it is set aside for their quota and leave everything else knowing well to whom they belong. Right? So we cannot renounce anything. We are just imagine that we are living in a place which has been given to us on lease, right? By Krishna himself. So what we can renounce? We cannot renounce. We are not in a position to renounce anything, right? So there are many instances where following such artificial renunciation without any contact with devotional service, the impersonalist again fell down and became attracted to material contamination. So there are so many such examples, right? Vishwamitra Muni was is one such example which is coming in my mind right now. He was a perfect yogi, right? He had perfected himself in Dhyana Yoga, right? But just you see, like when he was once meditating, one of the heavenly damsels, an Apsara, came and just he fell down from that position. Okay, so there's always a danger of fall down. When you take to other yogic systems if they are not properly directed, right? If the ultimate aim is not getting into devotional service to lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna, then it's a dangerous. It's a double-edged sword, basically, right? It's a difficult process as well as it's risky also. So here comes the concept of Yukta Vairagya. Exactly what I have been saying, like how we basically do here at Krishna Consciousness, that was given to us by the six Goswamis, especially Rup Goswami, right? Six Goswamis of Vrindavan, they came up with this concept of Yukta Vairagya. That means you accept everything, which is there, material in this material world, but then utilize it in the service of Krishna, right? Everything can be utilized in the service of Krishna. All it needs is little bit of innovation from our side. But what can I do? Our meditation should be, how can I use this particular thing or this particular person and engage them in the service of Krishna, right? So this is what the Yukta Vairagya is all about. Yukta Vairagya is a secret for devotional service. Anything that can be utilized in advancing in Krishna consciousness should be accepted, right? For example, machines, typewriters, dictating machines, tape recorders, microphones, airplanes, anything, laptops, mobiles these days. So, and you can see how Srila Prabhupada beautifully made use of that, right? He used a typewriter for translating Srimad Bhagavatam, and then towards the end, he was using dictaphone as technology advanced, right? So he was always upgrading himself, and he was constantly thinking that, okay, how can all these things be utilized in the service of Krishna? So same things can be done with our laptops, mobiles, any technology, right? Which is there. So technology in itself is not bad, basically. As most some of the people may, spiritualists, they actually condemn the use of technology, right? That is not the right way. As we progress, this advancement will be part and parcel of human civilization. That's going to be there. But the consciousness with which we use these technologies is what actually matters. Just for example, this nuclear power is not bad in itself. It was basically made to make our lives easier. Just imagine how much electricity bill we are paying each and every month, right? Maybe, I don't know, anywhere from between 2000 to, even I have heard in Delhi and NCR region, like people are paying around 10,000-15,000 rupees, right? Because there is so much of heat. In the summer it's very hot, in the winters it's too cold, so they use ACs like anything, so the bill is also like that. But just imagine if this nuclear power had been utilized, in generating, clean electricity, we would have done away with the pollution aspect also, as well as our electricity bills would have been reduced to a bare minimum, right? But just look at the Kali Yuga consciousness of the people. Rather than utilizing it in that way, they just created a nuclear bomb out of it to kill themselves, right? So the consciousness with which we are using the technology is something which is important. So technology cannot be condemned in itself. Just the consciousness is what which actually matters. So do whatever you are doing, but do it in Krishna consciousness. From your place, at your pace, join the race. That is the key word, right? Sthane sthita shuddhogata. That means stay where you are. No need to do any jazzy things, right? No need to try out something very different. Simply follow the parampara. Simply follow what your acharya has said as it is, without any deviation, and you will be seeing Krishna face to face in due course of time. Be 100% assured of that. Right? So this is called Yukta Vairagya. So we'll continue on Yukta Vairagya. A person in full Krishna consciousness or a bona fide spiritual master can never be carried away by material opulence, right? Or on the contrary, they will also always keep thinking, how can this be used in the service of Krishna? Because their only point of meditation is Krishna, right? What can I do so that Krishna is happy? Anukulyena Krishna Anusevanam Bhakti Uttama. That is what our, this Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu also speaks about. Yes. So instead, they will always try to use the material opulence in the service of Krishna. If a person is carried away by material opulence and large number of followers, then this devotional service becomes slackened. And one should therefore strictly adhere to the principles of disciplic succession. Just follow what your previous acharyas have told you, what your Siksha Guru has told you, what their gurus have told, what the six Goswamis have told, what the entire Guru Parampara has said, what Lord Sri Krishna has said, right? So that's what we have to do. And this is exactly what Krishna also mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, right? Bhogashvara pasakta nam tayapahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhi samadho na vidhiyate. In the minds of those who are too attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, and those who are bewildered by such things, the resolute determination for devotional service unto the Supreme Lord does not take place in such such hearts, basically, right? So anything like which is material and we are too attached to that, then it's difficult for us to make progress, right? That attachment will already be there. And see, this is the whole concept of Krishna consciousness. One of the biggest misunderstanding about ISKCON is that when you talk about people who are not in ISKCON, so basically they have this understanding that okay, at ISKCON we ask people to leave so many things. Arey yaar, meat khana chhod do, you leave onion, you quit onion and garlic, and then you quit tea and coffee. So only you just give up like this. See, at ISKCON, we are never forcing people or we are never asking people to give up anything. Only thing that we ask to do is to chant and to read the Bhagavad Gita. Just by following these two processes, religiously with a pure heart, automatically you will lose the taste in these material things. People are quitting these things by themselves. No one has asked them or no one has forced them to do that, right? Just because you are purified from within, you start understanding what the scriptures are saying, what are the do's and don'ts which Bhagavad Gita has laid down for us, what this is the best life manual, and what is it that the life manual is telling us to do, and then automatically they start following that path, right? We are not forcing anyone. Who are we to force anyone? Even Krishna doesn't interfere in the free will of a living entity. What can we do, right? So it is one of the biggest misconceptions which is there about ISKCON, which I want to dispel by this medium today. That we are not forcing anyone to leave anything. It's just that by chanting and reading the Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly, people are following the sattvic lifestyle, all by themselves. Yes, and then we will see the quality of a devotee. As one gets fixed up in devotion and in Krishna consciousness, all the qualities of Sri Krishna and demigods start manifesting in them. Yes, all the good qualities will automatically start coming, because once you start following devotional service and once you are fixed up in Krishna consciousness, you will be primarily situated in Satogun, right? The mode of goodness. So automatically good qualities will start manifesting. So much so that you will be very dear to the other people and other people will be very dear to you. That is what Krishna has said in the Bhagavad Gita, right? For example, a devotee is naturally non-violent, and therefore he doesn't have to practice non-violence separately. So, as I said, that others will be very dear to you, and you will be very dear to other people. So, obviously, non-violence will spontaneously be there, right? And because a devotee is naturally non-violent, they are naturally vegetarians, so they will not kill, right? No need to make what to say, a show off that okay, you are a very peace living person, or a big time animal lover. Oh, I'm such a great animal lover, I love dogs, I love cats, and so they are also what to say, living things, and we should shower all our love on them. What happens when it comes to your dining table? Is chicken not a living thing, right? Then why are you discriminating between a dog and a cat and a chicken? Or is it that you love chicken so much that you eat it up and make it a part of yourself, right? No, that is just making a show and a mockery of all these things. Non-violence starts at your dining table. Just for the sake of satisfying your palate, you cannot just go around killing things. Okay, that is not recommended by the Shastras. That is not recommended in any scripture belonging to any faith. Okay, if we scrutinizingly study the different scriptures of all the faith, not just Bhagavad Gita, you will see that everywhere it is condemned. Unnecessary killing of animal just for satisfaction of your taste buds is extremely condemned, right? But devotees, since they are automatically non-violent, they are actually spontaneously non-violent. Obviously, they will adhere to these principles and they will be vegetarians. Yes. And just see in the Bhagavad Gita also how Krishna has also stated. One is the very famous shloka that all of us know, that is Patram Pushpam Phalam Toyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati Tadham Bhaktya Upritam Ashnami Priyatatmana. So Krishna has said, what does he accept? He says that Patram, leaves, Pushpam, flowers, Phalam, fruits, Toya, water. So if these four items devotees offer me with love and affection, I accept them. Krishna has not said meatum, fishum, chickenum like that. Those things, okay? These kind of abominable things he has not mentioned in that shloka, right? So these four are definitely very dear to Krishna. But this is another shloka which I found out in the 3rd chapter, 14th verse. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyad anna sambhava yagyad bhavati parjanyo yagya karma samudbhava. All living bodies subsist on food grains, right? So food grains are the basis of life. He is not saying meat is the basis of life or fish is the basis of life or any other non-vegetarian food is the basis of life, right? Food grains are the basis. Unless we are living in such a scarce condition that food grains are not available, which is practically impossible, till then we should not be thinking of killing anything, right? So all the living entities subsist on food grains which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by performance of yajna, and yajna is born of prescribed duties. So simply if we stick to our scriptures, we follow the prescribed duties, the yuga dharma, what is there for every yuga. And for Kali Yuga, it is chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Simply, if we stick to this process, simply if we read the Bhagavad Gita and try to imbibe the teachings of Bhagavad Gita in our day-to-day lives, everything will fall into place, right? We don't have to try and do something extra and just follow what the previous acharyas have told, right? It's a simple process, Krishna consciousness, but we ourselves have made it very difficult just because of our attachment to material things and people around us, right? So just by reading the Bhagavad Gita and chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra very nicely, what will happen that we'll slowly lose the taste for all the material things which are there, and we will also start understanding our constitutional position. So in that way, that detachment will automatically come, right? Yes. So this is how bhakti is very superior. To practice bhakti, you don't need anything else, and you don't need to do perform any severe austerities. Don't have to follow the process of Ashtanga yoga, try to control your mind forcibly, right? Don't have to get into philosophical speculation by just reading the scriptures and just showing off the knowledge to 10 or 15 people. No, that is also not recommended. You just have to develop pure love, and that can come only by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra and by reading the Bhagavad Gita. That is all. Yes. So this brings us to the end of our presentation. I would now like to open the floor for discussion. If people have any questions, I would be happy to answer. And somehow I think I have lost my cursor. I don't know.
May I ask a question?
Yes, Prabhu, please go ahead.
Okay, in that Klesho Adhikarastesham Mavyakta Sakta Chetesam, Krishna tells us to worship his person form. But now you see in the current present scenario, like world, so many impersonalists have come, like Muslims, they worship Allah, then Jews, so many like Mayavadi, Advaitwadi, they don't consider God to be person. So how come nectar of devotion is applicable to them, to all these people?
Yes. So for this, we need to understand, Prabhu, that see, whatever scriptures have been given, as you spoke about different faiths right now, right? So if you read their particular scriptures, so that was given according to the time, place, and circumstances, of the human civilization at that point of time. Okay. So and that is the reason why, if you see the Bible, like in the 10 Commandments, what is said? It is said that thou shall not kill. That is the first thing. And then another commandment is that thou should love your neighbor as thyself. That means you should be loving your neighbor. That means the intelligence level of people at that time, at the time when Jesus Christ was giving these particular teachings, was at a very low level, and that's the reason why these are the basic teachings which he had to give. That okay, you first love your neighbors, and you then kind of go, do not kill anything. And at the same time, it has also been mentioned in some of the scriptures that God Himself, or the representative of God, whoever is there, like they have clearly made a statement that I want to tell you more, but right now you are not ready to imbibe that kind of a knowledge, right? But Vedic knowledge actually surpasses all the other faiths. Actually, if you see, it's a superset of all the other faiths, basically, right? And in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna has told Arjuna very clearly that this is the most confidential knowledge that I have disclosed to you. Now there is nothing else left for me to tell you, right? So this is how, like, it's just that it's really unfortunate that people do not read the Bhagavad Gita and do not follow their own. They just try to follow whatever is convenient for them, rather than reading the Bhagavad Gita and adhering to its principles. Yes. So once they start reading it, then definitely I think people can achieve much greater and much better results, basically, rather than staying at that level. So
No. My question is something different. My question is there impersonal God revealed to them that you should worship me impersonally? Means Yahweh, Elohi, or Allah. Means they only told them not to worship their person form, and they revealed, means the God revealed to them to worship only the impersonal form. We can say
so it
Allah
was,
means five
yeah. So,
times a day namaz, or we can say all these things like. So
correct.
there
So
God has told them to worship not in the person form. Is there like
no,
that?
God has not told them. The representative who came there, like there was a son of God, or there was a messenger of God, like that. So what they have told is that, so as I said, that it was according to the time, place, and circumstances, right? Even at that time, if they would have told anything about, say, the personal form of Krishna or personal form of God, that how he looks, he has a, like he has some parents, and then he has an address, like where he stays in Golok, Vrindavan, and all those things. People's intelligence was not that developed in those times that they would conceive all these things, right? Then they would say that, then what is the difference between us and God? We also are having the same thing, right? So just to magnify that, I mean, just to present that in a bigger way, so that people can accept that thing, they have just made it impersonal. Same is the case with the Virat Roop, which Krishna showed in the Bhagavad Gita. Virat Roop is not the ultimate form of Krishna, right? It's just to bewilder all those people who think that, okay, if we are talking about God, it has to be something really big, right? I mean, God cannot be like us, having two hands and a very beautiful face, and a good consort like Srimati Radharani, and parents like Yashoda, Mother Yashoda, and Nand Maharaj. No. So then people will not accept that. So just to, because the intelligence level of people was not developed at those times, so just to pacify them, they just gave this concept of impersonalist thing. But this is not the ultimate thing. As we have said in the beginning of the session, this is just the beginning, right? To meditate upon the impersonal form of Lord, or to do some karma yoga, is just the beginning of bhakti, right? Once you advance in bhakti, slowly you start asking more and more questions, as your intelligence goes on increasing, and then you can comprehend all these things, all the facts that have been given in the Bhagavad Gita. Yes.
And one last question, in the Bhagavad Gita 12th chapter, Krishna
Mhm.
has mentioned 36 qualities of a devotee,
Mhm.
because Rupa Goswami in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu has mentioned 27 qualities. So is it 27 qualities of a devotee or 36 qualities as mentioned by Krishna?
See, ideally, whatever Krishna says is perfect. But as we have said, that what Rup Goswami has done is that he has just tried to pick out most important aspects. Okay, even Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu is not a very detailed scripture, right? In Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Rup Goswami has actually mentioned only those aspects which are very, very important, and which are actually mandatory, that are not optional, right? That is what Rup Goswami has said in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So, and it is also very practical. Like, if you try to follow what Krishna has said, that all the 36 qualities, then it's really difficult for, especially for people like us, like in Kali Yuga, it's very, very difficult to follow all the 36, right? Even if we follow 5 or 6 of them, right? What are the 5 things which Sri Arup Goswami has said in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu? One is worshipping Srimati Radharani and Krishna, deities of Srimati Radharani and Krishna, reading Srimad Bhagavatam, Sankirtan, staying in places like Mathura and Vrindavan, right? And then there was one more thing I am forgetting, but there are 5 things which he has mentioned, right?
Chanting the
Mahamantra.
Yeah.
Chanting.
Correct. Chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So you just follow these 5 things. That is more than enough for you to, go back home, back to Godhead. Just if we do that every day, consistently, day in and day out, we don't forget to brush our teeth, we don't forget to eat and drink. Similarly, make this as a habit, right? And then you'll be just going back home, back to Godhead. Yes.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Yeah. Medhavani Mataji, want to say something?
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dhanat Pranams. 36 qualities I didn't understand, because in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna speaks about 20 divine qualities. That is in
20
chapter
divine
13. And in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there are 26 qualities. So I just wanted to check with Virendra Prabhu, 36, where is, what is the reference for?
Means I had given one contest of Chinmay Mission, and in the Chinmay Mission contest, they had given us to study 12th chapter, and they had given the topic 36 qualities of Krishna as mentioned in chapter 12. So regarding that, I had given this test also, like the exam test. So in that it is mentioned 36 qualities of.
Yeah, can you just share the reference for that, Prabhu? 36, because Krishna has 64 qualities. That's what we have.
No. 36 qualities of a devotee means samashautrichpamitricha tatha manapamanayo shitoshna samadukeshu samasamgavajita tulyanindasitirmuni, all those shlokas.
I know, understand, Prabhu. Just share the reference of the Bhagavad Gita verse. Why? Because 20 qualities are only mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, from 13.8 to 12. And 26 qualities are, that is 20 qualities. And 26 is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, these are the 26 qualities of a devotee. So, I just want to understand, is it 36? Because the number also doesn't match. So if you can let us know where we are, missing out, we can check out on that.
Means in 12th chapter Bhagavad Gita, from verse number, we can say.
Okay. The qualities that make one dear to Lord Shri Krishna. You're referring to that.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay. Okay, but it is not 36 that is mentioned. But okay, fine. And now I understood the context. Okay, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
In chapter 16, in 1 to 3, in Srila Prabhupada, Bhagavad Gita as it is, they have mentioned 26 Daivi Gunas.
Yeah, that is divine qualities. Correct.
Divine qualities. Yes, yes. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
No, it's not 36. That's what I want to check with Virendra Prabhu, because there is no mention of 36 in Bhagavad Gita chapter 12 also. That's what I was checking.
I may be wrong. I will check and I may be wrong.
Prabhu.
I will check.
Just check and let us know that we can have that clarified. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes. Okay.
Okay. Anyone else has any question? Okay. So we would like to thank Abhinav Gaurang Prabhu for a very, very wonderful session today. Thank you so much, Prabhu. So tomorrow we will continue with chapter 14. We'll conclude chapter 14. Tomorrow is a very, very interesting session. What are the benefits of devotional service? Right? Today we understood.
Monday, Mataji.
Oh, Monday, Mataji. Yeah. I'm so excited. We are doing only 5 days a week. Yeah. So we'll meet on Monday morning now, 10:55 a.m. as we progress to understand what are the benefits of performing devotional service. So we thank Prabhu. Very wonderful session, Prabhu. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo
Namo Namaha. Thank you very much, Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank
you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, thank you.